In this episode, you're going to discover how you can stop panic from taking over when you're about to sing in public. So let's dive into it. This is a big one. Now, what most singers tend to do when singing in public is just pushing through, and whether they feel the panic or not before singing in public, they tend to believe that the more they do it, the less nerves they will have. And I know this is something that I had in the past. I just thought, well, the more I practice singing in public, performing on stage, well, the less my nervousness and doubts and insecurities will be, right? Unfortunately, this approach caused the opposite effect, and that mainly does it for other singers too. Instead, the panic will not decrease. The panic will increase because you're reinforcing a belief that is already present, which is performing or singing in public is dangerous, is not safe. And by putting yourself, if that's your panic zone, in that panic state, you're panicking even more, and then we find ourselves in a vicious cycle. So what can we do about it? In our Singing Insiders program, we have 7 different ways to help you decrease nerves, decrease anxiety or panic when you're performing or when you're singing in public. In this episode, I'll give you my 2 favorite ones because, first of all, I don't want to overwhelm you. And these 2 tools alone will be enough to give your voice a massive transformation. And I want you to be focused and actually put it into practice. So let's dive into it. I'm about to give you the first tool to overcome any anxiety when singing in public. And most singers make the mistake of trying to think their way out of anxiety. Someone told me she had an audition. It's one of our Singing Insider members, and she said, I had an audition and I felt the nerves coming up, and then I was like, I was thinking my way through it, like, I can do this, you're strong, you have practice, like all those things she kept on repeating in her head. Now, this didn't work for her, because what happens when you're doing that, talking to yourself and trying to encourage you with words, is that you might fall into the trap of overthinking and being in conflict with yourself. Because one part of you feels those nerves and that anxiety, and the other part of you is like, no, you're not feeling this, you're amazing, you're well prepared. So there's 2 sides of you fighting for each other. That doesn't make sense. We cannot get out of anxiety, which happens in our brain, by using our brain. So what do we need to do instead? Well, we need to use our body to communicate to our brain by regulating our nervous system. So let me dive deeper into this. If you're experiencing panic when singing in public, that means that your brain sees this situation, in this case, performing, as something dangerous, as something that is unsafe. And our brain, its only job in this world, in this lifetime, is to keep us safe. Survival is the only part that our brain is out for. That's his job. So when the brain sees an unsafe situation, like performing, it will send a message to our body to react to that, to defend ourselves. So if my brain sees a lion, it will send a message to my body to either run away from the lion, so it will pump blood to my legs so that I can run faster. Or it will send the message of, oh, well, just play dead and go lie down in the hope that the lion will not see you. Or it will say, here's a little bit more like the stress hormone. What's it called? I forgot. But anyway, the stress hormone to fight this lion. So you recognize probably these. You have the fight, flight, or freeze response. We can talk about fawn as well, but that's a separate one. Well, not separate, but let's keep it with the 3 main ones: fight, flight, and freeze. My body sees a lion and my brain sees a lion and my body reacts. Now, if my brain sees a lion and I tell my brain, with my brain, no brain, it's fine, the lion is not dangerous. You've practiced how to handle lions. Will my brain accept all of that? No, right? Same thing happens with singing. If my brain interprets performing as danger, and I tell my brain, with my brain, it's fine, you can do this, you've practiced this, my brain will not accept that as a truth. What we need to do instead is use our body, regulate our nervous system to communicate to the brain. So when the brain is sending that signal of here's more blood into your legs to run away, you now have the awareness of like, ooh, I'm feeling those nerves and that tension come up. Let's use a nervous system regulation tool to calm down the body so that the brain understands that this is actually a safe thing, performing in public. Does that make sense? So in that singer's example, when she was doing the audition, and she was saying things to herself like, you can do this, you've practiced this. That wasn't working. What she did instead, in the Singing Insiders, we have a whole vocal trust library with all kinds of tools to regulate your nervous system. She went into that library and did a meditation. And that helped her calm down her nervous system, which then in turn helped to overcome that anxiety that she felt. And she nailed the audition. So that's number one. It's regulating your nervous system to overcome the panic, especially when you feel that panic coming up. Let's move on to the second tool to overcome anxiety when singing in public. And most singers, they make the mistake of focusing only on vocal technique. So they practice, and they focus so much on their voice and their vocal development that what is happening when they're in that zone, let's say, is that they tend to fall into the trap of perfectionism. And then it's a perfect excuse to never feel ready before actually doing the thing that they want to do. In this case, that's performing or letting yourself be heard in public. So by just focusing on the voice, they will notice, oh, well, for example, my mixed voice, I haven't mastered that yet. So I first need to really master mixed voice before I can go on stage and sing a song. And that is becoming an excuse for not doing the thing that scares them. Maybe that resonates with you. I know it's definitely something I've done in the past. So instead, this is where perfectionism holds us back. Instead, what we want to do is understand that having that goal is exactly the thing that will help you get you there. Let me clarify that. Instead of waiting for your mixed voice to be 100% perfect, what if you go and sing that song on stage anyway, but you choose a song where you might not need your mixed voice? So then you're still learning about the experience of performing and singing on stage without having any technical difficulties. Because singing is about way more than just technique. Singing, yes, you need vocal technique. Obviously, it's part of it. And you also need the practice of cultivating that confidence. And you need the practice of singing a song in your own unique and authentic way. So it's not necessarily about vocal technique perfection. It's about how can you use vocal technique to help you towards that goal and do your goal anyway, even if it's not perfect, because you'll learn from that experience. You'll learn from, okay, I need to focus more on that, or, oh, this was actually good. Like, oh, I got to connect with my audience. They were enrolled in the story that I was singing. That's a good thing. Now, my next focus is how can I do that without crying on stage, for example. So then we're more talking about the storytelling and the emotion, less about the vocal technique side. Now, by having done the experience, you might also have noticed, well, I noticed that I was on pitch all the time. That's amazing. So that means my foundation for vocal technique is there. Next time, I'm going to challenge myself by doing a song where, for example, mixed voice is active. So do you see how those two are different? It's not about vocal technique perfection. It's about perfecting your vocal technique in the process towards that goal. Let me say that again, because this is an important one. It's not about vocal technique perfection. It's about perfecting your vocal technique in the process towards your goal. I hope you get that. So as you can see, singing has this holistic approach. It's not just about hitting the right notes. It's about combining vocal technique with nervous system regulation and authentic expression. When these three elements come together, that's what I like to call the sweet spot of vocal freedom, where you can sing anything that you want, high notes, low notes, all the notes in between, with confidence and in your own personalized and unique way. That's vocal freedom. Now, how you get there, that's a whole other conversation we can open up. So I'm inviting you to click in the description down below. I've linked a next episode that goes around, like that will go over that whole framework of how you can get to vocal freedom using those three elements. So I'm excited to see you there. Thank you so much for having been here. Click the link here down below, and I'll see you in the next episode. Talk soon. Bye.